everyone. Today's presentation is on MultiCloud Security, and I sincerely thank you all for joining in. I'm Leena Bongale, Manager of Data Governance and Protection at TD Bank. I've been in the cybersecurity arena for nearly a decade now, and I like to study and research on how best to protect systems connected to the internet from the threats in cyberspace. And cloud security has been one such area of my focus for the past couple of years now. So with my intro done, let's jump right into our today's topic. Most of us are familiar with cloud security, which is also known as cloud computing security, that it is a collection of security measures designed to protect cloud-based infrastructure applications and data. What is multi-cloud security then? In order to understand multi-cloud security, we need to understand what is multi-cloud strategy. A multi-cloud strategy allows organizations to deploy workloads across multiple cloud platforms, including both public clouds such as AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and private clouds. This provides much more flexibility than working with only one cloud platform. It allows organizations to better manage costs and avoid vendor lock-in, and improves resiliency. Back in the early days of cloud adoption, forward-looking organizations could declare they were using one cloud for their infrastructure as a service needs. But today, more and more companies are adopting multi-cloud strategy, using more than one cloud computing service provider. The move to a multi-cloud strategy has been largely driven by choices. Using more than one cloud service provider allows an organization to choose whichever services and capabilities fit their needs best. This is very similar to current cell phone service provider market. There are multiple providers, all of whom claim to offer different benefits. Many families and businesses have more than one cell service provider to best meet the needs of each user. Similarly, each organization has a myriad of requirements, and certain cloud services meet some of those needs while other needs can be better met by a different provider. For example, your organization may employ one cloud for HR applications while business applications run in another cloud. No matter which forms your multi-cloud network takes, you're mixing the technologies and services from one company with technologies and services from another company. It could be the most effective way of fulfilling your organization's unique cloud networking needs. While a multi-cloud approach offers numerous benefits, the high complexity of multi-cloud deployment also increases the attack surface and the risk of cyber attacks, raising new cloud security concerns. Now, no one likes the sound of that is, raising new cloud security concerns. So then the question becomes, why use a multi-cloud strategy? Multi-cloud is quickly becoming the standard, with 84% of organizations that use the cloud employing a multi-cloud strategy. What's more, these businesses are using a combination of 4 to 5 public and private clouds on an average. In a 2019 cloud security report, 42% of organizations in the survey reported that their primary cloud deployment strategy is multi-cloud. It is clear that companies of all sizes are now recognizing the benefits of moving away from the one organization, one cloud approach to one in which their workloads are distributed among multiple cloud service providers. Avoid vendor lock-in. One of the most persuasive multi-cloud benefits is that it keeps organizations from being locked into one vendor or service provider. This freedom is increasingly important as organizations want to capitalize on the rise of niche specialist providers that focus on one area of expertise or one cloud application type. A multi-cloud application approach enables businesses to deploy multiple specialist services instead of relying on one vendor for all their software requirements, ensuring companies can deploy the latest best-of-breed solutions, deliver the software employees need to do their jobs as effectively as possible, and work with the latest and greatest technology. Meeting compliance requirements. Increasingly stringent data privacy and governance regulations, such as the CCPA and the GDPR, require customer data to be stored in specific locations. MultiCloud enables organizations to deliver this specificity without having to build and manage their own on-premises data centers or lakes. Increasing performance. With a multi-cloud approach, organizations can create a high-speed infrastructure that maximizes application performance and reduces the cost of integrating cloud solutions with their existing IT system. By extending networks to multiple cloud providers, organizations can develop connections that improve response time and user experience. MultiCloud allows organizations to pick cloud providers based on the location and the provider's ability to meet price and performance requirements. Enhancing resilience. Outages can happen at any time for any cloud provider, which makes it highly risky for organizations to rely on one vendor alone. A multi-cloud strategy offers businesses improved security, better failover option, and enhanced disaster recovery. It ensures data storage resources are always available, making the organization's cloud deployment more resilient for the long term. It also helps to minimize performance affecting factors like latency, jitter, and packet loss, which are typically caused by hopping between networks and servers. With data volumes increasing exponentially, multi-cloud architecture is an ideal solution for organizations looking to store and process their data. It enables businesses to scale their storage requirements up and down as and when needed. All this while I've been talking about multi-cloud. It is not to be confused with hybrid cloud. The primary difference lies in the fact that a multi-cloud strategy involves the incorporation of multiple public cloud services, typically from separate cloud providers. An example would be a company that uses AWS for its web front applications while turning to Google Cloud for its open source containers. Hybrid cloud computing differs from this arrangement in one critical aspect: the inclusion of a private cloud infrastructure working in concert with a public cloud provider. This additional private cloud infrastructure can be in the form of a private cloud provider or an enterprise-owned data center. A multi-cloud system requires oversight over multiple providers, whereas a simple hybrid system can be managed as a single entity. Keep in mind that a multi-cloud strategy can also become a hybrid by the inclusion of a private cloud service. Multi-cloud security is often cited as to why many companies are hesitant to migrate over to the cloud. There is a fear that multiple cloud services, there can be more open windows to exploit, giving access to enterprise and customer data, assets, and mission-critical applications. However, these perceived threats are often overestimated, as on-site infrastructure usually have more easily exploitable loopholes. Multi-cloud security requires a holistic approach that addresses diverse security vulnerabilities and establishes consistent security controls across multiple heterogeneous environments. The key to securing a multi-cloud environment lies in finding a cloud-agnostic multi-cloud management solution. Multi-cloud management tools and processes make it possible to monitor and manage applications and workloads across multiple public clouds from a single interface. It is especially important for managing workloads that are commonly migrated between clouds, such as Kubernetes clusters. When designing your multi-cloud architecture, the following considerations will help you secure your infrastructure and workloads. Authentication and authorization. Find a framework that can support the different authentication models used by different cloud providers, but lets you define accounts, roles, and policies in a centralized manner. It is important for authorization and authentication to be decoupled from any particular cloud service or provider. Upgrades and patching. Vulnerabilities and remediations may be different for each cloud provider, even for the same type of infrastructure or workload. Automate software upgrades and patches ensures that upgrades are sensitive to the workload, the infrastructure it is currently running on, and its dependencies. Component hardening. Applications and infrastructure components must be hardened according to the relevant security best practices. This involves closing unsecured ports, removing unnecessary software, securing APIs and web interfaces, and following the principle of least privilege for access to users and services. Monitoring and visibility. When operating on one cloud, you could rely on the basic security tools offered from that cloud provider. However, in a multi-cloud environment, you must have a tool that supports multiple clouds and enables visibility to the entire environment. A holistic view of systems across the multi-cloud is essential for detecting, investigating, and responding to cyber threats. Classify data that will be stored on a multi-cloud and ensure that the sensitive data is assigned to the most secure storage resources. Plan geographical distribution of data according to your compliance obligations. Implement data loss prevention solutions that can identify data loss or exfiltration across multiple clouds. Multi-cloud management is crucial as organizations grow and add new applications and services to their IT environments. While the cloud revolution continues to grow and data volume increases, businesses remain reliant on traditional methods like passwords that put their diverse environments, remote workers, and multiple applications at risk. Businesses require a modern identity platform that makes the user the new perimeter, ensures secure access to applications and services, and enables rapid adoption. Despite these pitfalls, organizations are increasingly choosing the multi-cloud route. With the many advantages of that multi-cloud offers, the rapid pace of development in the field, it's not hard to see why. By implementing the following best practices, organizations can significantly improve the security of their multi-cloud deployments. Make sure that your organization's business partners and other stakeholders understand how the shared security model applies to you and your cloud vendors. Usually, cloud providers are responsible for the security of their own data infrastructure, and they should be able to provide your organization with some of the capabilities you need in order to protect your data while it's in the service provider's infrastructure. These capabilities include multi-factor authentication, vectors, encryption technologies, and identity and access management. Your organization will usually be responsible for how you use your data in the provider's infrastructure. Any software that your organization develops or acquires from a third party should be patched and otherwise security hardened by your organization. Your employees should abide by your organization's information security policies in how they use their data, how you deploy virtual machines, and your own necessary security controls is in your hands. These are the responsibility of your organization. You must choose all of your cloud vendors carefully. Read all of their features of their products and services and their own cybersecurity policies. Have a thorough understanding of the cloud vendors you're deploying now and you may deploy in the future. Your networking and security staff and all other stakeholders who work with your cloud should understand the details of vendor services which you use and be involved in the decision-making process when choosing cloud vendors. Upholding the responsibility of your organization's part of the shared security model requires that you understand the accounts and deployment zones where you need visibility to monitor the vulnerabilities. With that understanding, you can properly deploy IDS and IPS devices and analyze their logs or have a trusted third party take care of that for you while being informed as to what's going on in your network. Thoroughly understand how your application in your multi-cloud network works. Make sure that all of the entities in the cloud environment behave compatibly with your various cloud tools. The configuration and deployment of your cloud applications are unique and have their own specific security needs. A vulnerability and exposures VNE manager is essential to acquiring the data that you need to securely harden your application. You need to carefully consider where you'll put them so that they'll work effectively. Should you have one on your premises? Should it be deployed in your cloud environments? Do you need each of your cloud environments to have one in order to acquire accurate data? What's the best fit for your vulnerability scanning needs? You must be able to remotely scan your public clouds as they are not in your premises. Enable remote scanning device profiler virtual images in your public cloud environments. The security of your multi-cloud network must be assessed on a regular basis because your infrastructure and software will change over time, as will the cyber threat environment. Any remediation instructions provided by security testers should be implemented. As Bruce Schneider says, security is a process, not a product. The security of your cloud services themselves should be assessed. Make sure your configurations of their technologies is secure and monitor for changes that can create vulnerabilities. Establish a security monitoring strategy that consolidates logs, alerts, and events from different platforms into one location. Tools that automatically remediate issues or provides guidance on remediation strategies are even better. Synchronize policies and settings. If you're using multi-cloud for availability with identical operations on two clouds, the same security settings should be maintained across both. This can be achieved by synchronized policies and settings across providers. Use different security policies for different services. If your organization is using different workloads or applications, individual security policies should be created for each service. For example, if you're planning on setting up a new business intelligence service, the advantages of building it on each platform should be considered first. The security policy should then be based on the chosen platform. Automate, automate, automate. Using a system that automates various tasks reduces the human risk factor and allows you to stay agile. But be sure to address automation from not only a DevOps perspective, but a DevSecOps perspective to ensure that security is a core consideration and driver throughout the entire process. Choose the right tools. Find tools and products that allow you to synchronize your security policies across different providers. Your security policies should be written in general terms with the tools interpreting themselves based on your various providers' work. Compliance. Find tools to help you maintain compliance in a consistent and efficient way across different platforms. Single point of control. Simplify your sprawl by using a single pane of glass tool that gives admins a single point of control to manage all application and data security across all their cloud deployments. Minimize point control solutions. Minimize the number of point security solutions which don't integrate well together. Each additional point solution requires expert staff as well as new integrations and deployment. This adds to the complexity and increases the likelihood of error. Similarly, the cloud vendor all provides security services. While these may be beneficial within the vendor's single cloud deployment, they are insufficient when it comes to securing a multi-cloud deployment. You cannot rely on each cloud provider to only protect its own service. For example, AWS to protect their AWS services, Azure to protect Azure, and so on, and assume you're getting a holistic security coverage. You need a single tool that's capable of providing unified and consistent coverage across all of your deployments. No matter how many cloud platforms are managed, Organizations are still responsible for the security, compliance, and governance of their own data. Even in the cloud shared responsibility model, an organization will be named first in that newspaper story, class action suit, or compliance judgment. IT operational proficiency is the root of many cybersecurity problems, cloud or otherwise. Therefore, multi-cloud security begins with consistent, scalable processes for key cloud platform practices such as deployment, access control, and monitoring. This also means having defined strategic goals for what an organization will accomplish, like resiliency versus cost savings. Security objectives should be based on these strategic goals as there is no agreed upon measure to secure enough. Just as in a regular cybersecurity, multi-cloud governance is at least as important as technology. Governance works to ensure that an organization has adequate controls and roles in place. Some of the basic key governance problems get exponentially more complex in a multi-cloud. Multi-cloud may sound like the perfect solution for achieving the cloud deployment of your dreams, but it has a number of drawbacks as well. When bringing more than one provider into the mix, there are a number of important issues that should be taken into account. The first one being added complexity. There's a steep learning curve with even one cloud platform, and it takes a great deal of time and effort to become well versed in it. Having to master and maintain another platform is clearly more challenging. Lack of skilled professionals. The added complexity of multi-cloud makes it more difficult to find developers, security analysts, and engineers with the right skill set to manage the different platforms. They must have the ability to develop across multiple such platforms, and they must also be able to secure and manage more than one infrastructure. Cost planning. While using multiple clouds can be more cost effective, since you can pick and choose the services needed from each, this also requires a thorough understanding of the pricing structure and cost per service for each provider. With multiple vendors, it can be more challenging to track these expenses and your overall costs, and the pricing structure and cost per service can constantly change. User errors. Most security incidents in infrastructure as a service or even in platform as a service deployments occur due to lack of knowledge on the part of the cloud consumer. According to Gartner, through 2025, 99% of cloud security failures will be the customer's fault. In multi-cloud environments, the myriad options and configurations can increase the likelihood of user error. Moreover, in the competitive cloud environment, vendors are constantly changing and improving their services. This makes it difficult for users to keep up. Difficulty in choosing the right tools. With each provider offering its own set of tools, it can be difficult to determine those that best suit your organization's needs. And one vendor's tool don't match those of the other vendor. Added security challenges. Maintaining multiple cloud means there is a larger landscape to secure and thus a greater chance issues will arise. Now let's look at some important security challenges to consider when using multiple providers. Synchronizing security policies across vendors. With each vendor having its own set of controls, it's challenging to sync decisions across different platforms in order to ensure consistent policies. Visibility. Obtaining visibility into different platforms, each with their own security features and granularity, is particularly complex in multi-cloud environments. Monitoring. Each provider offers different monitoring options, but your monitoring must account for the full scope of your entire deployment, Leaving anything out increases the security risk. Increased attack surface. Multiple providers means a greater number of services and a larger attack surface, giving attackers more ways to infiltrate. Whether or not multi-cloud is the ideal setup, the jury is still out on that. Every organization must take into account its goals, needs, and limitations, especially when it comes to security, before starting out on a course towards multi-cloud. The key to a successful multi-cloud security strategy is finding a dedicated multi-cloud security solution that will provide flawless coverage between clouds. And the right tool should be able to be customized to your company's individual needs without forcing you into their framework. Choosing a solution that puts your needs first allows you to take advantage of all the benefits multi-cloud has to offer while maintaining a secure and compliant environment. Although multi-cloud computing comes with new security challenges, there are enough benefits encouraging organizations to either already have multi-clouds or heading towards multi-cloud environments. One thing to remember is to understand the business drivers behind the multi-cloud choice. From these, organizations can look at security choices regarding specific features, better pricing, gaining vendor independence, increasing resilience, improving geocentric connectivity, and achieving data sovereignty. So this brings us to the end of the presentation. I thank you for your time and interest on this topic. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and it was informative for you. So until next time, stay safe and be well. Goodbye.